So I decided to go naked on the Interceptor 650, the stripped back look. It's aggressive, it's raw, and it's a total disaster. Do I recommend it? Absolutely not. 10 minutes up the road was enough to cover the whole bike and myself in filth. Welcome to part 3 of my modified Interceptor 650 stroke classic 650 build. In part 1 we changed the exhaust. In part 2 we actually lowered the bike front and rear. In part 3 we're now going to fix this mess with a classic styled front mudguard. Today, front wheel removal, a fresh disc and a DIY hack to stop your front forks from scratching. Let's get to work. So the original Interceptor front mudguard, nothing wrong with it. I'm just going to release the 4 hex keys here and remove it, just for cosmetic reasons. Oh, for sake. Okay, tip number 1. This is a magnetizer, demagnetizer tool. It just saves your sockets falling out. And they're so inexpensive, only a couple of pounds, I think. So yeah, top tip, magnetize your tools, stop them falling out. Now that's better. Now it's time to remove the front mudguard and change it for my aftermarket one. And a bit of a shocker on the original front mudguard. It's totally plastic, and that's what it looks like underneath. The new one is metal and not as heavy as the plastic, believe it or not. Now there's a different look for the Interceptor. The front mudguard totally removed. So there's no way I'm going to mount these metal brackets on the front fork without any form of rubber. So I'm going to make my own rubber pads to fit on these. And this is where an old inner tube becomes your best friend, because you can cut them to any size that you want and make shapes, make washers, make your own rubber washers with an old inner tube. There, now just time for a quick wash and scrub. So I've cut some rubber strips for the mounting bracket. I'm marking some holes. I'm going to fold the rubber into half and then in half again, and then I just cut slightly at 45 degrees to make the perfect round hole in the perfect location. Ta-da! So as you can see, it fits perfectly, holes in the right location. Now I can mount the bracket to the wing. And for the mounting brackets for the front fork, I've just cut some rubber strips. I'm using some contact adhesive and applying them to my rubber strips, and I'm not going to get scratch forks. There we go, happy with that. Do you hear that? It's a little bit concerning, and it took me ages to figure out what it was. It sounds like it's within the suspension itself, and it feels like it, because when you brake, the first millisecond there's a little bit of a judder. But it's not the suspension. I'll show you what it is right now, and maybe you can comment on this, because maybe it's common, maybe it's not. It's my first experience of a floating disc. I've never experienced a floating disc on a motorcycle before, so Is it a common thing? Is it a common occurrence, or should I change it? I'm going to change it today. I've got a spare one here that my friend Robert gave to me because he upgraded his disc, and this is a disc with hardly any wear on it. So I'm going to put this on and see if it's still the same. Hopefully not. So I need to remove the front wheel to be able to get that new front mudguard on. We're going to change the disc at the same time, and we're going to lube the front axle at the same time. Now we're doing all this. There's a problem already though. 24mm spanner. I should be able to undo that nut. I can't shift it. I'm going to extend my spanner. Look at the bend in the spanner. I still can't shift it. This is the importance of torque settings, not so much for not making them tight enough, but for making them too tight. Just yanking stuff on as hard as you can. Imagine if I had a flat tire, I needed to take the wheel off for a roadside repair. This is preventing me from doing it. So I'm hoping there's no red thread locker on there like there was on my rear suspension. If it is, I'm going to have to heat it to get it off. I don't want to damage the paintwork on my forks. Frustrating to say the least. So we're going to try the old trusty bar, something that you can't carry when you're on your motorbike obviously, but hopefully this will do it today. Oh, there we go. So the bar did it, luckily. But, you know, if I was using the motorcycle toolkit, there's no way I would have been able to loosen that. So I will look at the torque settings on that and let you know later in the video what they should be. So now we're loosened off, we can put the bike on the center stand, which I can still do in flip-flops on my lowered suspension. And we're going to use my trusty car jack, my modified car jack, place it under the engine just to lift that front wheel slightly off the ground. There, that's off the ground already. There, we've got a split in the fork. This is what holds everything in place. So we need to loosen this one off, then we can pull out the axle. There you go, it's loosened off. Now I'm just going to hit with a rubber hammer on the other side. The axle comes straight out. Just hold the wheel slightly. There we go. Keep this one safe and clean. We're going to lube this later, but this wheel should come straight off now, hopefully. Speedo drive and one spacer that's going to drop as soon as we pull the wheel out. Yoo-hoo! So, moment of truth. I've been really looking forward to this moment, seeing how it looks on the bike. We're going to have to thread it through somehow. This is why we had to remove the wheel. Ta-da! Look at that. And this is why I put rubber on these, because they're going to fit at the lower end of the fork and hold the stays. So yeah, perfect. That's your ABS wheel, we'll keep that out the way. That's our disc out. There's no wear on it, so maybe I'm changing this for no reason, but a floating disc is meant to be able to move the disc left and right when you're braking, stopping you getting a warped disc. but I just don't like the judder on it, so I'm changing it. And now I've done that, I can see I've got a bit of corrosion on the wheel hub, so we'll touch that up before I put the brake disc back on. Now I can get to it. One, two, three. This is how we're going to tension them at the same time. We're going to do opposite corners so we don't get tight on one side before the other. So we're going to tighten them up gradually. There, kind of thing. And we'll try the new disc. So I'll just check the wheel bearings with my finger, make sure there's no looseness on either side. They seem to be okay. So I've had to raise the jack a lot because the front mudguard is a lot lower at the front now, so the tyre only just clears. And once it's in, then we can lower the jack again. Once the wheel's in, now we can lower the jack. We're going to re-grease the axle quickly, just very lightly. I have got a little bit of wear there, you can see it. A little bit of wear, but it's not all the way round, so I just think that's a little bit of vibration. We're just going to grease it up very lightly. I've cleaned it already with a cloth, just slightly grease it up, and that's good enough to go for another 10,000 kilometers. Let's clean up the spacer quickly. We don't really want any grease where it makes contact with the rubber seal, because we don't want the rubber seal to perish really. Just clean it up. There. So there we go, that's the first cosmetic change really on the Interceptor, and it really does harken back to the original Interceptor 1960s look with that front mudguard. They had exactly the same. The only thing that was majorly different was that the headlight was a lot higher, which is something that I plan to do also on the next few upgrades, as well as changing my seat to a bobber seat. Luckily a friend has given me a second seat off a Continental actually. It's metal frame I think on the bottom. It's handmade actually, it's a handmade seat. I'm going to chop it in half, use the peg and then just mount a bobber seat on it from here, and then use the back as a luggage rack. So I can easily change the look of the bike from a bobber seat to a rider and pillion seat without destroying having the option of having two people riding on this bike. A quick update on that replacement disc. I'm actually still getting the same movement and that clonk sound that we talked about. At this point I'm starting to assume this just might be the normal for the 650, but I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. Is yours doing the same thing? Also, heads up on the front mudguard. I picked this one up locally here in Thailand for about £100. It does the job, but I've since discovered that Hitchcock's sells a beautiful chrome version. It actually comes with a new front axle and a much better fixing point for around £200. So if you're looking for a more bolt-on premium solution, that's definitely the way to go. So lots more to do on this bike. I've still got the foot peg problem to resolve. I've got the headlight problem to resolve. I've got the speedo problem to resolve. I've got the ignition key problem to resolve. Lots of things to look forward to on future videos. I'd like to hear your comments on this upgrade. Is it something that you would go for, or is it not? Thanks for watching. Until next time, ride safe.